Okay, so what I wanted to discuss is a liquidation that I did for a greengrocers, but this was a solvent liquidation. So I think the greengrocers had been going for about 3 decades, and the people that owned it owned the building, and it was a very successful greengrocers. But after being so long, they wanted to retire and close it all down. So a Members Voluntary Liquidation, an MVL, was deemed the most tax efficient way to do it. It was recommended by their accountant, and they got in touch with us. So I just wanted to discuss what this process is, and how it works practically for the directors and shareholders. So in this instance, the owners were the directors and the shareholders. It was the same people. Um, but they decided that they wanted to do the members voluntary liquidation. They provided me with all the information I asked for, which was essentially the assets, a list of their assets and the list of the liabilities, and a full set of accounts. And the company was solvent. And the directors had to swear a declaration of solvency. So when I say swear, essentially what that means is in front of a solicitor, they have to declare that the information within the declaration of solvency was true and accurate, and we were comfortable it was. It listed its assets, which was the property, there was cash at bank, and the tangible assets of the shop, so fridges, shelving, etc., and liabilities. And there was just a handful of small liabilities that they couldn't tie up before it went into liquidation. So the directors had to go and swear that that was true and correct, and that the company was solvent, i.e. it can pay all its liabilities in full within a year. So I prepared all that documentation for them, explained what it was, and I arranged for the solicitor to come and swear it. In reality, it took about 2 seconds to actually sign it all and go through it, because I'd done all the pre-work with them and explanations. So that was the declaration of solvency. I then prepared all the other legal documents to place it into liquidation. So that was done by our office, and then the meetings were held that put it into liquidation. Now, once the company was in liquidation, my first job was to start realise all those assets, i.e. get all those monies into the liquidation estate. So I wrote to the company bank and asked for that bank balance to be transferred over to a designated client account I had especially for this company. So there was no one else's money in there. It was a bank account in that company name set up purely for this. So the cash at bank was transferred over into this client account for them. I then sold the tangible assets, so the shelvings. The stock had gone because it was perishable goods, but the shelving, and there were some fridges, etc., and that was sold and raised a little bit of money. Paid the agent's costs, which were associated with that, and the balance again was transferred to this liquidation pot. And then the property was sold very, very quickly. Properties are in demand at the moment, and so I facilitated that sale along with a commercial agent, and the property was sold, and again that money went into the liquidation estate. So once I'd realised all the assets and we had this liquidation pot, I had paid off the creditors. So there was just a small amount of trade creditors. I paid them as soon as I could. As soon as any money hit, I hit that bank account. I paid the trade creditors because statutory interest accrues on a daily basis. So I was very quick in that regard. And then once all the liabilities had been paid, along with the statutory interest, which was minimal, there was a pot of money left over for the shareholders. And I paid that across to the shareholders very, very quickly. And they got their dividends through the liquidation. And then so that's only recently happened, but very soon we will look to close the liquidation, because I've done my role, which is to get the assets in, pay the creditors, and distribute the balance to the shareholders. And once we've done all of that, we'll just do a review of the files, check there's nothing outstanding, nothing else needs doing, and we'll just bring it to a close. So that's in reality how the members voluntary liquidation works for a solvent company, i.e. when there's when the assets exceed the liabilities. I kept the directors, who were also the shareholders, up to date throughout the entire process, so they weren't worried that they were neglected or they were one of 100 cases. That's absolutely not the case. I kept them fully up to date, and they could always ask me questions, but we kept them up to date, so they were reassured that we were working as quickly as we could, and I paid those creditors as soon as I could to reduce that statutory interest. You don't want a liquidator to sit on the money, not distribute it, and it goes in a queue, etc., because that's costing you money. So I think that's important to know when you are looking for a liquidator to do a sole liquidation. And so ask them, how quickly will you distribute the money to the unsecured creditors and also to the shareholders, because you want that money as well. So just say, do you keep, how long do you keep on hold of that money for? When do you do the distribution? Do you keep a reserve, etc.? So those are some questions that you need to bear in mind. But if you want to chat about a members voluntary liquidation with me, feel free to contact the office or send me an email, and I'm happy to discuss it with you. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.